You know, as a quantum physicist, you're, I suppose, in a unique position to look at all of the diversities of life about us in our pluralistic society, because while so many aspects of our culture are pulling at each other in different directions, in physics you have an overarching theory in quantum physics that tends to unify rather than to pull things apart.
A certain feeling that unification is possible, and that unification has progressed quite a bit. We'll talk about it the whole program.
Yeah. Quantum physics is the theory that explains the activity of all of the subatomic particles.
That's right, and it does it in such a way that there is a lot of openness, because it says that the activities are not closed, but only possibilities that can be predicted, only probabilities that can be ascertained. So we have the open question. When the possibilities become actuality, what agency does it? And if we posit that consciousness does it, there is the entry point for consciousness in the affairs of the world that we have been looking for a long time.
And you are noted in the field of quantum physics not only as the author of a major textbook, but as an individual who has suggested that we can resolve the many strange paradoxes in quantum physics that are of great puzzle to physicists and to philosophers by postulating that the ground of all being is consciousness itself.
Correct. The only thing that we should emphasize is that this too is a very strange assertion, because the properties of consciousness that you get from this analysis, consciousness can enter quantum physics to collapse the possibilities into actuality only if, now listen to this, consciousness is transcendent, consciousness is unitive, one consciousness only, and consciousness is us. We are that consciousness. And this is a fairly spiritual view of the world, a mystical view of the world of consciousness. And this is a very magical, wonderful aspect of this whole resolution.
It's as if the teachings of the ancient mystics and the teachings of the modern physicists, primarily I suppose Western, have come together.
Yes, it has come together in such a fashion that it is promising new children, new babies to be born out of this new paradigm. It's truly a new paradigm, because we are recognizing that consciousness is the ground of being, and matter, mind, all these things are possibilities within consciousness. And that gives us a very new way of looking at it, where creativity becomes possible. Because if with every collapse of possibility into actuality, consciousness has a new beginning, has the possibility of a new beginning. So at every moment, we have the possibility of choosing the new, and therefore creativity.
Now, conventionally, scientists assume that consciousness is far from the ground of being, that the ground of being, I think many would say, is some sort of a random, chaotic process, and consciousness is an epiphenomenon, something that only occurs after you have a highly evolved organism with a nervous system.
Right, such as the brain. So the idea is that elementary particles make atoms, make molecules, make cells, make brain, make consciousness.
Yes.
But in this way of looking, there is neither free will nor creativity. And our experience tells us that there is free will and there is creativity, because we can change, we can transform. Free will is very easy to prove to oneself. How can we change if we are conditioned? But we can change. There are so transformed people, so loving people in the world, so many of them, so many creative people, that to say that we cannot change, like behavioral psychologists would say, is a total misrepresentation of the human condition. Agreed that there is a lot of conditioning, there is a lot of ego, there is a lot of staying in a stagnant frame of reference, frame of mind. But it is also true, all of us have the capacity of coming out of it, jumping out of it.
Yes. And of course, psychologists have looked at this. There is a well-established discipline within psychology of the psychology of creativity, and over a period of a number of years, you've entered into that field from the perspective of a quantum physicist, and I suppose it's fair to let our viewers know, also a student of yoga.
Yes, I think that creativity in the outer arena, such as for me it is science, for other people it's arts, music, sculpture, architecture, whatever it is, in the outer arena is only facilitated by a creative exploration of the inner arena. Because the problems are the same. The problem is that there is order to be discovered in the outer arena, how the stars behave, how atoms behave, and there is also order to be discovered in the inner arena, because we look inside and we find that it's pretty chaotic, isn't it? But then we can bring order to it. And what brings order to the inner chaos? Creativity does. So creativity is restoration of order.
And in a way, what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, then, is that every creative person, and in particular creative geniuses, are individuals who have, at some existential level, discovered or created a new order within themselves.
That's correct.
And then manifest externally.
That's correct. Every creative discovery is a creative leap of thought. And for that creative leap of thought, the creator has gone deep inside of himself or herself, make that leap, bring the insight, and then that insight has been manifested in the outer arena. In other words, in the moment that a creative creates, every creative encounters a deeper aspect of the self that I call the quantum self. You know, there is a picture in the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel that Michelangelo painted. The famous Adam reaching out to God and God reaching out to...
two fingers touching.
That's right, two fingers touching. That's the encounter of the ego, our conditioned being, and the creative quantum self.